Hey y'all, I'm back again today. So first, before I even say anything, I just want to apologize because my last video I was laughing because I was going through these moments where I was talking about stuff and things were getting real, but like for some reason I was just finding stuff funny, and I apologize if I said anything and then laughed and made you feel some type of way or made you feel uncomfortable or like made you think that I was trying to make things that are serious seem funny, because I wasn't. I was just trying to make sure I was genuinely like finding something about what I was saying funny. But anyways, so I just wanted to say that because I care about y'all, like, you know, I just care about y'all. So today, before I say anything, before I get into everything, I want to read Philippians 4 and 7, just a short part of it that says, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. And the reason why I wanted to read Philippians 4 and 7 today is because honestly, I feel like peace is all I've been after. Peace is one of the most important elements, important things that you can be substantial in, that you can obtain, that you can be bountiful and fruitful in. Peace is what should draw you into like everything that you choose and decide to be a part of, because I feel like it's just really important to have peace in your mind, your heart, your spirit, and your soul, your presence, because when you're at peace, everything, you stay calm, everything is like, you have solitude in your mind, and your mind feels sane, you feel safe, you feel calm, you feel serene, and everything is just, it's good, it's everything is great when you're at peace. So I'll read it one more time. It says, Philippians 4 and 7, the peace of God, which surpasses understanding, will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. So, I was like downstairs today, and I was telling myself that sin is sin. It can get very deep. And I basically gave myself examples. Like, one of the examples that I used was that I made this whole thing up, and you might think that I'm crazy, but it's just an example. So I said, basically, this is all I said. I said, the ocean, let's say the ocean, there's an ocean. Let's just say the Pacific Ocean, that God talks to it. Let's just say God talks to the ocean. And let's say one day God woke up, or he was there, and the ocean in the daytime, while the sun had just risen, God was speaking to the ocean, and he said to the ocean, he said, here's the numbers from 1 to 1,000, and that's 1 to 1,000. That's how many times I want you to make a tidal wave today. And I want you to be obedient, and I don't want you to make any tidal wave outside of that number. By the time the sun goes down and the moon is up, I don't want you to make any more tidal waves at all. So let's say the ocean itself literally sinned against God by not being obedient, by being disobedient, and then by lying about it. I'm using disobedience. I'm not saying that disobedience is a sin, but I am saying that disobedience itself is tasteful or just displeasing to God, because it is very displeasing to God. And then I'm saying that lying is a sin. So let's say that it was daytime in the Pacific Ocean that God was talking to. It decided that because it wanted, it's a body of water, right? So as a body of water, it wants to feel good. It wants to feel parts of itself going into a tidal wave so that it can feel calm. It can feel good about itself. So let's say in the daytime it made more than between 1 and 1,000. It made more tidal waves than it was told to on purpose. Whether the sin, because God reads the intent of the man's heart and the man's mind. So he's not just, when you sin and you get judged for it ultimately by God, he's not just looking for your action itself. He's looking for, and not just to give a consequence, but he's looking for the intent that came with the action that you committed that was a sin. So I broke it down in 4 parts to myself. I said the words the words, the action, the I think it was, what was it? It was the words, the action, the choice, and then the words again. So the words at first was the heart's intention being the promise. So the promise would be that when it got instructions from the Lord, the ocean got instructions from the Lord to only make 1 through 1,000 tidal waves by the time the sun went down, and that's all it could do. It said to the Lord, it said, and I hope this is making sense, y'all. It says to the Lord, it said, I'm only going to make this amount of tidal waves, and I promise it, or I'll just obey, or it says something like, I agree, or I'll do this. That's the promise. That's the intent of the heart. But then the action, that's okay. That's right. The action comes in where the sin begins, because it's not just about disobedience, because usually disobedience is what leads man into sin, because they want something. The intent of their mind tells them that they want something because of their feelings, because of their wants, their desires, and their passions. It tells you want something, so be disobedient and you'll get what you want. That's what the flesh will say to you. Be disobedient and get what you want. So I told myself that the action of the sin is what makes the sin itself. But it's not just the action of the sin that makes the sin. It's the thought, the process of you going into the sin, knowing that it's wrong, knowing that it's disobedient, knowing that you're going against what you've been told to do. You don't just fall out of alignment with God each time you decide to be disobedient. You literally, because think about it, each time the earth gets deeper in one place, the ocean grows, because if the earth's dense or the earth gets deeper in some type of place, and by a body of water, the water is going to stretch out, right? Because it's going to stretch out and touch each part of the earth that it can, that's deep enough to make full of itself. Like when you dig a hole and put water in it, the more you dig the hole, the more water it can hold, right? So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like the action itself of it even stretching its body out, whether it knew it was stretching its body out or not, was disobedient, because that's probably the purpose of God not wanting it to move in the first place, or make a certain amount of tidal waves in the first place. Because God, he's ultimate, he's all knowing. So he knows that if this ocean goes and it makes so many amount of tidal waves, by the time the sun goes down, it's gonna have stretched its body out further than it was supposed to. What does that ultimately mean? It means that the main reason why we shouldn't sin is because, not just because we get out of alignment with God, but because things will happen that's not supposed to happen. Because when that ocean stretches its body out by making these tidal waves, don't you think that once people go into the ocean, some people are going to die, some people are going to drown and die, some fishes and some animals are gonna have to reap the repercussions of this ocean choosing to stretch, to not listen to God, because it stretched his body out. Of course, that makes some animals go through things that they probably shouldn't have to go through, that's in the ocean, right? I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to make it make sense that each decision that the ocean made, just because it wanted to do something, it didn't just defy God. It didn't just do something that's undisciplined. It didn't just do something that is what's the word I was using? That's whatever it was. It causes things to happen that, whether it's just for the moment of pleasure or not, the sin causes things to happen that God didn't want to happen in the first place, which is why he gave you specific instructions not to do what you are going to do. So I won't use this whole video just off this one explanation, but I'm just trying to say, like, basically what I'm saying is how deep, I'm trying to explain with this ocean explanation that this is how deep sin can get. So after the actions that you commit, that's the intent of your heart, the words, but then comes the intent of the mind. And then after that, God knows that if you've done something, Most of the times when people do something that was bad or wrong or out of order, they're going to lie about it because they don't want to get caught, or they don't want nobody to know, or they know that they've done something wrong and they don't want to reap the repercussions. Whatever it is, they're going to go out of order most likely. And the thing is, it's like the reason why sin, especially lying, is so distasteful to God, dishonor is so distasteful to God, because once you go from telling the truth to lying, you go from a truth teller to a liar. So you literally misrupt things. You misrupt your purpose. You misrupt your identity. You misrupt your character. You misrupt who you're truly supposed to be. So it causes things to happen that's not supposed to happen. So after the act and after the mind intentions come the time where you have to face God and you have to say, he's going to ask you. So he asked the ocean and he said, what did he say to the ocean? Oh yeah, that's what he said. He said, how many times did you stretch out your body, and how many tidal waves did you make? And the ocean looks and he says, only the number of times. The ocean looks to God and he lies. The ocean lies and says, only the amount of times that you told me to, only 1 through 1,000. And then out of guilt, out of shame, out of whatever the ocean felt, because it has done what it has done, whether it knows people have died from drowning or animals or whatever happened, whether it knows or not, it goes deeper into sin just by making itself a manipulator, causing itself to be manipulative. Because the main reason why I lied wasn't probably just for any reason that I just explained. It was probably simply just because he didn't want God to know or feel like God was, how I say it, basically, like, you know how someone will lie, but it's just to protect the other person from knowing that you did something that the other person told you not to do, out of wanting to protect them from what you've done. That's basically what the ocean did. So in this story that I'm telling you, trying to explain to you how deep sin can get, I'm basically saying the main point of this is to tell you that it was really about this ocean not just causing things to happen that wasn't supposed to happen in the first place, but this ocean, it got out of character. It went from being an honest ocean to a manipulative ocean, to a lying ocean. And that's not what God planned for this ocean. That's not what God made the journey, the destiny, the fate of this ocean to be. But because it wanted something, because it wanted to fill its body of water that it was itself, stretch out and feel good and whatever it wanted, it had to lie. And then, like, when you do one sin, every sin is like kind of tied to another sin. Every sin is kind of like wrapped into another sin, because it didn't just lie. It basically, like, I know it's just the ocean. I know this is just an example, but it basically, it stole, it lied, and it murdered. Because that's the 3 sins it committed. Because if you think about it, when it lied about stretching out its body. When it killed people that drowned because it stretched out its body. And then when it stole the truth that it could have had. It stole the character the trueness of its own self, and the process, the alignment that it had with God. It wasn't just misinterrupted, it was probably lost completely. When you sin, you never know what's going to happen. You never know completely how you're going to misguide yourself, mislead yourself, or interrupt the relationship that you share with God. If you disagree with me, that's okay. But I'm just using this as an example to explain what happens when you sin and how deep it can get. I know it might sound light, but really when you think about it, if I go today, and I'm just going to give one more example because we really got to get into this, because I usually only do 15 minutes. I already have 14 minutes, y'all. Just off that one example. I don't know how, but I think this is going to be a 22, maybe 30 minutes, and the next one will be 30 minutes too. I don't know. But I'm going to use one more example. So let's say that I have a friend, and I'm saying this because I want you to focus on the relationship part of the situation. So I have a friend, and me and my friend were sitting one day at the beach. I'm just doing the beach again. I don't know why, but we're sitting one day at the beach, and we make a promise to each other. We make a promise to each other that the next day we're going to go tie a rope around a tree or a string around a tree, and we're gonna name the tree, and we're gonna make the tree our spot. Like, this is gonna be our spot. And the whole thing about this agreement is that we're gonna meet at a certain time to go to the tree, and then we're gonna plan things together because we're friends and we want to spend time with each other. Let's say my friend, she already knows that she can't have that time with me. She has things planned, or there's something coming up around that time, but she wants to make me feel good, or she wants to plan something with me, but she knows that the only reason why I'm doing this is to ensure that we have time in our friendship and a place that we can have time together where we can grow. But she knows ultimately she's going to have to go somewhere else around this time to do something else that's probably not important at all, or even more important to her. So let's say this friend just agrees with me, but as soon as you make that connection, as soon as you make this agreement, while you're understanding that you're not going to have the time or the opportunity to do what you're agreeing with, that's not sinning. But if you do say, I hope this comes through, because I'm trying to make this make sense. Like, on another level, it's like, basically what I'm trying to say is that when you have a relationship with someone and you plan something, or you know something, or you understand that there's an alignment between you and another person, you need to be truthful, because in a way, if you create an agreement with someone about being somewhere at a certain time, but you understand that you can't be there, then it might not be manipulation to some people. To some people, you might not even be lying. But to me, that in a way is a lie, because it's like, why would you say you can be somewhere at a certain time if you know that you can't? Why would you say that you can? You get what I'm saying? So that doesn't just disconnect us by alignment right there, you knowing that. That just interrupts the whole friendship that we have that's built off of trust, a foundation of trust, a foundation of love. Because I need to trust you in order to believe that you're going to tell me the truth, especially about us meeting and going somewhere. And I need to know that you love me enough to never lie to me, especially about when it comes to things that can strengthen our friendship, can help us or build us in a relationship, right? So I'm just using this example to say, like, the alignment part is important, because you always want to be aligned with God. You never want to lie to God or promise him something, whether you know that you can't deliver, or because first of all, God's not going to ask you for something that you know you can't deliver, because if you know it, he knows it. So, but I'm saying that you never want to tell God that you're going to do something if there's anything inside of you or a part of you that wants something that's without that thing that you're promising, or wants something that is the opposite of that thing that you're promising. Because at the end of the day, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And the only way you can be aligned with God is if you're aligned with God, submitted to God, and in truth with God. So in all honesty, it's like you have to have all honesty in a relationship with God, or there's no point of even having or trying to build a relationship with God, because then there won't be any alignment. You know what I'm saying? So let me drink some water. So in this example I'm trying to use, do you see that? So let's say the day after that, I go to this tree, I take the ribbon, I take a blanket, I take a whole picnic there, and I sit there for an hour, and you never come. And I'm waiting, and I'm trying to figure out how we're going to tie this rope, when we're going to do it. Where are you? I'm calling you, I'm texting you, you're not picking up. There's no communication, and there's no reason. I have no reason to figure out or to just like try and like know where you are and what happened. So then I go all the way home, and the whole time I'm crying, and I'm like, because I'm using, like, it was supposed to be a little kid's like example, but really I'm using this example. I'm saying, like, even if I go home and I'm crying because I'm worried, like, where's my best friend? She said she'd be here at this time, and she never showed up, and I don't know, like, she's never done this, or this has never happened to me before, so I don't know what's happening. That right there is probably what God feels sometimes, in a way, when he plans things with us or for us that's in his will, and we go against him, or we do something that gets us out of alignment with him. He feels sad. Some people don't think like this, but maybe God cries. Some people don't think like this, but maybe God is the one that gets maybe God gets disappointed. If you read the Bible, God shows emotion. He shows, if you're a person that can show love, then you're a person that can show anger. If you're a person that can show love, you can show pretty much every emotion that there is. And God is abounding and abundant in love. So why don't people think that he cries too? Why don't people think that maybe God goes through every emotion, and then emotions that we probably don't even know of, just because he's God and he created all these emotions that we have? Why don't people think like that? Because really, nowadays, and then I feel like it's more of like back in the day, but like nowadays, I don't think Christians, like a lot of Christians that share relationships with God, they don't actually think that God is like, of course he's not human, of course he's not of humanity, but God created us in his image. And when that's said in the Bible, it's not just said that he made us look like him. It means he created us in the image of his feelings, his emotions, his abilities. I'm pretty for sure that God has all the abilities we have and more. And then, so why don't you think that when you do certain things, he feels too, like he gets these feelings that we receive from situations too? So it's like, what I really wanted to say today, I wanted to say that take accountability for everything you do. You have the ability to account for everything that you do, and yet you don't take accountability. But why? Because when I sat there and I talked to myself today, I had a real talk with myself, and I told myself, I said, and yes, I do talk to myself. I'm so sorry that people think that's unhealthy, but it's really not. I told myself, I said, I've done this and I've done that, and my mom called me a manipulator, and yes, I have stole things, and yes, I've had lied about stealing things, so yes, I have sinned. So at the end of the day, not only have I put my place in positions that I shouldn't have been in and done things that I shouldn't have done, but I'm one of those people that have literally sat down and asked myself why God won't speak to me, why I'm a prophet who can't prophesy to myself for myself. But at the end of the day, why would God, even for prophets, I'm saying this for prophets, if you're a prophet watching this, why would God, and you can't prophesy to yourself, why would God allow you to prophesy to other people, but you can't prophesy to yourself? It's probably because I literally called myself a sacrificial prophet, and I'm not trying to look bad, and I don't want to be on here like drawing people away from my page or my channel or whatever, but I called myself this because I literally told myself, I was like, how can I be a sinner who follows after Christ, but I'm a sinner saved by grace who sins just because they want, who sins either fleshly wants or desires or whatever, and then not only do you change yourself from a truth teller to a liar, but you go from just sinning just because you want something to changing yourself into a person who isn't who God created you to be. So that's not just coming outside of something that we shouldn't do or try to ever do, which is coming outside of who God created us to be. But if we were made in his image, do you think he ever wants us to be anything other than who he called us to be? So that's also, in a way, denying him. That's like telling him, I know you not. That's like, I'm taking it that far because I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm going to get judged, and he's going to tell me, I know you not, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, if I don't fulfill, and if I don't stay in alignment with God and do his will, he's going to say to me, I know you not, because depart from me, I don't know you. So why would I spend time on this earth not being called who I'm meant to be, if that's basically telling God, if I do it purposely, not being called who I'm meant to be, if I purposely go my life doing that, then that's like telling God I don't know him. That's like telling God, I don't want you. That's rejection. That's like saying, I don't want to be who you created me to be. I don't want to be who you called me to be because of the things that I want, because of who I want to be. And you know those people that have you ever heard that God will chase you and chasten you? Like he will chase you and whoop you? Well, some people go through that just because they spend their whole life running from the person that God created them to be, when all you had to simply do was follow after your own heart desires. Or it's because it's crazy but to hear that, but it's like, if God created you to be that, it's in you to be that. So for you to run away from that means there's something that's of you that's not like God. Because anything that you go through that leads you from him has to be something that is of you that's not like him, because nothing of him would lead you to him if it's not like him. So that's not being made in his image, and that's not being who he called you to be. That's running from who he called you to be. Sinning constantly to get what you want just because you have the want. I told myself, I was like, why would he allow me to prophesy to myself if I'm just one of those people that would literally not even fulfill my own prophecy? Like, why would God allow a prophet to prophesy to themselves when they lie and steal and deny things? They manipulate themselves by manipulating others. I had to take a deep dive and a deep, evaluation of myself, because I'm like, no, he's not going to allow you to prophesy to yourself a word that came from him if you're not going to follow through the word. And that might not even be the reason why I've never been able to prophesy to myself, because I haven't. But the thing is, at the end of the day, that might literally be the reason, because I've prophesied to people. I've given people's prophecies, and the prophecy had the proof of the prophecy, the proof that it came from God, the whole action of the prophecy has happened right in front of me. So I know I'm a real prophet. I know that it's true that I have the gift of prophecy. But the thing is, it's like each and every time that I go and I tell God, well, why can't you talk to me anymore? Why can't I prophesy to myself, or this or that or the third? But I don't think about the things that I've done. I don't think about the times where I denied him. I don't think about the times where I sinned and did what he told me not to do, or then it's not rejection, but it's like neglect of your own self. It's like there's no self-awareness between the fact of your actions and the unresults that you're receiving from him not taking action, just because your actions don't match up to the truth that you know is true, and that you say is true, and that you say I should commit to, but you don't fully commit. So I told myself that I was like, I have to not just stop, I have to not just stop, I have to not just stop thieving and lying, but I have to completely surrender to God. Stop just praying for his will to be done, but just completely take the accountability for everything I've done, and then take accountability for everything I need to do, and then go back and completely account for that. And then once I account, I can become even more the person who I am meant to be, fated to be, called by God to be. And then I won't look around and wonder why I can't hear from him. I won't look around and wonder why I can't prophesy to myself, but I can prophesy to others. Because if you're thinking that I'm wrong, then let me tell you this. He will send a prophecy with a message who is called let me not even say it. I'm not going to say that. But he will send a prophet who is called a prophet with a message from him to the person that needs the message without even allowing that prophet to prophesy to themselves, for the simple reason that he needed the message to be delivered by this person, because they're humble, because they're not prideful, because they have whatever they have that he needed in that person, because they could get to that location, because they could get to that person that needs to hear this, that God needed to hear this. But at the end of the day, do you really think that he's going to allow you, the prophet, to carry this gift? And at the same time, I wish I could give scripture fact on this, but I'm going to look for it. And if I can find it, I'm going to tell y'all one day what it is. He's not going to allow you to use that gift on yourself if he knows that what he gives to you, you're not going to fulfill. Because then it's a prophecy. Every prophecy is meant to be fulfilled, even if it's the prophet's prophecy to themselves. You know what I'm saying? You clocking it? You get what I'm saying? Because I have to come to understanding this today. And when I understood this, and when I fully took in this, I said it's for everyone. So I had to tell y'all this, because it's not just for prophets. That means that whatever you're meant to be, you won't receive that from them, from yourself. If it's given by God, you won't receive that from yourself unless you fully act in everything that you're called to be. But he will allow you to give that to others. He will allow you to pour into others. So if you're a waiter, what should I use? I should say, like, let's say what would make the most sense? Like, I don't know how to explain it because I want to use a real person. Let's say, like, you're a salesman, but every time you're a salesman for houses, right? I don't know what they're actually called, but you're a salesman and you sell houses, but you yourself I hope this makes sense, y'all. I'm about to make this up and I hope it makes sense. So you yourself try to go and buy a house, but every time you try to buy a house, he closes the door opportunity for you to buy a house and actually get into that house. And you're like, how am I living my life selling all these houses and I live in the house that I don't want? But every time I try to go buy the house that I actually do want, I can't get it. But when you go home, you see that you don't even take care of your own home. All these people that you're selling these houses to, they go home faithfully every day, clean up this house. They worship in this house. They pray and praise God in this house. They take care of their home. But when you go home as a salesman of houses, you're a poor salesman of houses to God because you don't take care of your own home, but you're constantly selling homes to other people and looking at yourself like, why don't I have the home that I want? So it's like saying, why don't I have the home that I want? It's like saying, why won't God give me the thing that I can't obtain because I can't take care of it? Or I can obtain. It's not even about obtaining it. It's about the fact that you won't fulfill it. You won't take care of it. You barely stay in your home because you yourself know that your home is not a place to be because of the way you take care of it. So you saying that you should own a home that you want just because you sell homes to people that they want and you see every day what you want given to people who can take care of it, that's why you should have a home that you want, but you don't take care of the home that you was given originally by God, then that doesn't add up. Because, like, at the end of the day, again, that's like you saying, in a different way, that's like you saying, that's like a fool to me. And I guess I am foolish in that way because that's like saying that I should own something that I will never, God should give me something. No, that's like saying, I got it now. God should give me something to own that I will never fulfill. So it itself will never find the purpose that God put it in my life for me to have it for. So to me, you guys, I'm just here to tell the honest to God truth. I'm not even a full prophet. I'm so sorry to even have to say that to myself. I'm so sorry for this to get this real to me. But honestly, if I sit here and say that I'm a full prophet, but I prophesy to people, and yes, the prophecies are true, but yes, the prophecies do get fulfilled. But at the end of the day, I can't prophesy to myself. Then how am I a full prophet? Because I can speak from God to the people who God sent the message to. No. I believe, in my own belief, a full prophet is someone who can prophesy to others from God and prophesy to themselves from God. And for each prophecy will be fulfilled. But at the end of the day, if you realistically think about everything that I just said, if you can take it to the fact that you can unalign yourself with God just by not fulfilling your destiny because you were disobedient, then you can also take it to the point to say that if you're called to be someone, you're not fully them if you can't fulfill who you're called to be. Right? So all these people, including me, that were just blind or knew but didn't fully know or whatever it was, that they weren't getting their full, what they were supposed to receive simply because they weren't being who they were to fully receive what they were fully supposed to receive. It's because fulfillment doesn't come in a place of unfulfillment. And that's just period. At the end of the day, that's just the truth. So I'm gonna be working on me. But I do have to key into this because it's like, I could be completely wrong. I could be one person, or there could be a million of people like me, and I'm included in them, who were prophets, who wasn't called to prophesy to themselves ever, but is called to prophesy to others. That could be it. But at the end of the day, it's about the accountability of making sure that I can fulfill myself and who I'm called to be by God and fully be fulfilled. So that means that I don't want to miss out on anything that God called to be in my life. Not even the part where I can give myself what I can give others from God. Because it's like, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to make part 2 because I already got to 35 minutes. So let me finish by saying this. It's like, whoever you're called to be, you're not just fated to be that person. You're fated to fulfill yourself in that purpose of being that person. So belief is one thing, and the full action of taking charge of your destiny is another. Okay, part 2 coming up, and like I'm gonna break down everything again, but in different ways, and then we're gonna just get into a couple different things. Okay, I love y'all, and I hope y'all watch part 2 and 1, and then of the last videos and of this. Okay, bye.